In this video, I will talk about cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions are actually thinking errors. So first one is mind reading. When we're doing mind reading, it means that we assume we assume that we know what others are thinking about us. And we assume that they're thinking worst of us. Like, for example, they're all making fun of me behind my back, or she's bored of hanging out with me. The second one is fortune telling. We actually start predicting that things will turn out to be bad. For example, I just know I'm going to fail my exam. Then we have black and white thinking. When we have black and white thinking, it means that we consider things to be totally good or totally bad. We do not have a middle ground. We cannot think gray. Things are either black or white. And if we fall short of our own expectations, then we view ourselves as total failure. For example, I missed gym one day. I will consider myself to be a total failure, but actually I should not consider it to be my failure. I should just go back to the gym the next day and consider it something normal. Then we have filtering. Filtering is when you focus only on the negative. You filter the negative from the positive. You do not look at the positive things, you only look at the negative things. For example, you gave a presentation, everyone enjoyed your presentation, but one person seemed to be bored. So you will only focus on that person who was bored, and you will think that your presentation wasn't good. Then we have catastrophizing. In catastrophizing, we imagine the worst possible thing is about to happen, and we predict that we cannot cope what's about to happen. This is a cognitive distortion, which is also known as magnifying. And then there's something which is opposite to magnifying, that is minimization. Minimizing is also a cognitive distortion. Magnifying occurs when you exaggerate the importance of insignificant events. And minimizing occurs when you incorrectly shrink the importance of significant events or positive qualities until they seem small and insignificant. For example, I'm going to fail this test and be kicked out of school and disowned by my parents. You are catastrophizing. You're thinking about the worst. Or another example, although I'm good at school, I'm nowhere near as good as everyone else. In this example, you are not considering your good quality to be very significant. You are considering it to be insignificant. You are actually, in simple words, you are focusing on the negatives again. Then we have overgeneralization. Overgeneralization is that if something bad happens, you believe it's likely to happen again and again. You generalize it, that it happened once, it's going to happen again and again. Everything is going to be bad now. Nothing's good going to happen now. For example, you had a bad date and now you conclude that you were a terrible dater and you can't ever find love. Then we have labeling. This is also a quite interesting one. It happens when you attach a negative label about yourself or someone else. You attach a negative label to yourself or to someone else rather than acknowledging that it was just a single event or a single mistake. For example, you failed once. Instead of saying that I failed that time, you say I'm a failure. Then we have personalization. It is a distortion where you believe that everything others do or say is some kind of direct personal reaction to something you've said or done. If something bad is happening, it's because of you. You end up taking everything personally, when in reality, it has nothing to do with you. For example, my boyfriend is upset I must have done something wrong, when in reality, he's just tired from work. Now we have should statements. We set up some rules. We set up some should statement. I should do this. He should do this. She should do this. This is when you have ironclad rules for how you or others should and shouldn't behave. And when When our expectations fall short, then we feel disappointed, frustrated, anxious, and even angry with ourselves. You might think that these should and shouldn't rules are helping to motivate you, but in reality, they end up preventing you from taking meaningful steps towards improving your life. It's also similar to black and white thinking that we discussed earlier. For example, I shouldn't eat any junk food again, but that's not quite possible. Then we've got emotional reasoning. You take your emotions as evidence for the truth. When you use emotional reasoning, whatever you're feeling at the time is believed to be true automatically and unconditionally. For example, if I feel stupid and boring, then I must be stupid and boring.